what are the worst January transfer signings?
Just spoke about a few, man.
Reece mentioned Kiyotaka before because we basically signed him, didn't we? About 14 times. One
Under transfer rumours, yeah.
He was one. And then, I think Simon Dawkins will never go unrivaled.
No, it's pretty bad, wasn't it?
Bar Michael Bradley.
Michael Bradley weren't great.
Did he make it? He made one appearance, didn't he?
I think so, yeah. He was
Michael Bradley was about
Borja Baston.
Yeah, Borja Baston.
Tom Carroll.
Tom Carroll,
yeah. Big player.
Oh, there. Alice
Samata
was there.
Obviously. Samata. Big goal in the final. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Every Week We Follow podcast. We skipped a week. I'm gonna presume that it's all because we're hungover. Yeah.
COVID as well.
COVID. That was it. Sorry, COVID.
Being sensible, weren't we? All keeping our distance.
Yeah.
And now we are swishing around one small mic.
They don't need to know that. They don't need to know.
They can tell. Listen, they can tell by listening to us. And obviously Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 1. We'll start with that one and then we'll move on to Brentford. And it's another one of those upsetting podcasts.
I'm really excited to speak about these two games.
I'll tell you what, it was probably only a week ago, Chelsea. I can't even remember what happened. A lot's gone on since, hasn't it? It was a game of two halves, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Thought first half we were really good, competed with them. Arguably should have gone in ahead. And then the minute Romelu Lukaku's coming on at half time, the second half, you can write the scripts. We've all been there enough times. I think he's one of those players that has the stat that he scored his most career goals against us, like every other player that's ever played in the Premier League and scored a goal. And we weren't in it second half, really, were we? Missed Gerrard. But I didn't come away too disappointed with them because I thought with the outbreak, they'd not trained much. They made a good account of themselves against Chelsea, all in all.
Yeah, first off, especially, I remember being quite impressed, and then obviously we've got quite fortunate with the goal that we've been given. Obviously, we come off. Reece James gone off Reece James and looped over the keeper. I was surprised the keeper didn't. I thought he had it in his hands from where I was, and then it's in the top corner. That's fine. Thank you very much. 1-0. A few minutes later, Matty Cash, silly tackle. Don't need to go to ground. And then the one thing we don't want to do when we're against Chelsea at home, we've just got a goal up, is keep against any team of that quality, is give any freebies away, and really didn't need to do it. The last time I was that annoyed at a player was probably Matty Cash versus Tottenham. I know it was probably a little bit different this time around, but just don't go to ground. But he's done it again, and we've given him a way back into the game, and we didn't really need to, because all in all it was really positive first half performance. And then second half, they raised it a level. Tuchel made a few changes, and it was pretty much all them, really, wasn't it? There was only one winner from that game, at least.
Just soft, weren't it? But both penalties were soft. The first one, like you said, Cash was all over the place. He even teased it 5 minutes before. He almost dived in around 3 or 4 minutes before. And I thought, right, that's a warning. And he's just done it again. So he didn't learn from his first potential mistake. And then second half, it was a second half without the manager's input for me. Obviously, would have been on, in some form of input via camera, but you clearly miss his presence in the second half. It's the first time I think we've come out in the second half worse than having the first and the Gerrard. It clearly showed. Until a week later, we played Brentford. We'll get on to that in a second. But I just thought both penalties are really soft. The third goal, they just caught us on the counter. But we were chasing the game at that stage. It was just the better team won on the day.
Also, the second one was it just seemed that we could have done more to try and prevent what happened. All right, you can't do anything really sometimes when Lukaku runs past you, because he's an immovable force, isn't he? You can't stop him. I thought maybe Sanson could have done better to close down the crosser, and I just think he's just rolled past Tyrone Mings with absolute ease. But as you said, it's Lukaku. He's about twice the size of any other player in the division, so he's got that advantage over everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Sanson walked and watched him cross the ball in, basically, didn't get anywhere near him.
Dangled and I get it, really.
Yeah, and the Tyrone Mings, you're absolutely right. He didn't even challenge, really. He backed out of it. He went, "Oh, I've lost this.
Mm.
But the best I can do is try and push him over." You are not going to push Lukaku over. You've got absolutely no chance.
It's a funny one because I actually think the goal against Chelsea, that second goal against Chelsea, Courtney House probably better equipped for that, to defend that, because of his aerial ability.
Yeah.
Then against Brentford, it was the other way around. We need someone who could just try to do basic defending.
Well, I remember House's debut against Brentford, wasn't it? I think he was playing left back in the Championship, and he was absolutely all over the place. And it was everyone thinking, "What on earth?"
Wigan from your mind there. I don't blame you, because that was terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think there's a theme, isn't there? We're just gifting goals too easily. Whether it be Chelsea, Brentford will come on to in a minute. The only time where I really thought a team have really had to work to break us down and relied on a bit of luck with the penalty was Liverpool. Even the City goals I thought were either a bit soft or just pure quality. We're not working teams hard enough to score against us at the minute. And it was a theme from the old manager, and I thought we snapped out of it under Gerrard, but it's crept back in. And I think it's a theme with these players in general. I'll talk about it more after the Brentford game, because that was just as disappointing, but I'm sure someone else has got more to say about that one.
I do think it does stem a little bit from the midfield, though. I know we're looking soft at the back, but we've lost that, solidness in the midfield area for me. I think we are missing the Nakamba that we saw.
With Nakamba.
I think it is. I think we've missed the Nakamba of the Gerrard era in this team. He was anchoring things, and he's doing the dirty. I think the balance isn't quite there in that midfield for me at the moment. We're a bit like for like, aren't we, in that midfield? There's not anyone giving me anything different in the centre of the park. Brendan is doing it, but he's not playing in the middle. He's playing something inside forward inverted winger sort of position at the moment.
I mean, if you're talking about McGinn, Louise, and Ramsey, the 3 8s, and they're probably 3 ball carriers or ball players. They can all win a tackle, but there's a difference between winning a tackle and actually bossing the midfield, isn't there? And Nakamba was doing it under Gerrard, to be fair to him. He was winning second balls, he was winning challenges, he was playing it simple. Those 3 all want to do a little bit more, and so does Sanson. They want to get on the ball and play with it a little bit more, and they're all too similar, you're right.
But Sanson is as well, though, on his breath.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think Ramsey, I think he had a great game against Norwich, but it was Norwich.
Yeah,
I got to admit, I'm not seeing a lot from him in the last 2 games. I think he's kind of he's done his usual kind of pedestrian act, where I think he could be doing a little bit more with the ball moving forward. I thought he had a real good first half against Chelsea, but from the second half onwards against Chelsea, he's kind of gone back into his shadow a little bit, which is a shame, because I think he's got the ability, absolutely, but I just think you do need a little bit more from him pushing the ball forward at times, which will come.
I think there's been a lot worse than on the pitch than we've seen than Ramsey. I don't think
I'd agree.
I don't think his standards have dropped too much, really. I think he's tried to make things happen, and it just hasn't really worked out for him. There's another few that you can probably point the finger at whose standards have dropped. I mean, it was a shame to be without Watkins. And before the game, he's probably got COVID, hasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, massive miss.
Like you say, we've lost a monster. Well, what has been a monster under Gerrard in Nakamba, and then it was difficult now because suddenly our midfield's gone a bit unsettled. Sanson looks a good player. We always thought that ever since we've seen him really this season that we think he could do a job. Obviously didn't really do too well at all really when he came on the weekend against Brentford. We may as well dissect it now, I suppose. Yeah, I think first half in terms of the football that we played, fantastic. It was really good. We looked really, really comfortable. There was looking like, I was thinking at one point, it's nice to come to Brentford and finally look like we've actually got control of things, and we've actually we're playing like a football team, because we used to go there and it looked like our whole team was playing with their shoelaces tied together, because it was just they were just these penetrating passes, quick football, and they'd just kill it round us, and it would be we'd lose 3-0 each game we went there. I thought, how this is refreshing to look at this. Brendan was stringing things through. Ings had an early shot, and I was like, okay, let's now get the ball in the back of the net, and then that little bit of magic, that little 1-2 with Dougie, and that little turn was absolutely outrageous. Put Ings through, and the top strikers score from there, and he's done exactly that. He's put it in the absolute pinpoint corner, and then we're laughing, and then we don't really capitalise on that. We don't really create too much more in terms of clear-cut chances, and then one chance, one shot, one goal. We were nowhere near him really in the build. I think you were saying before.
We were nowhere near within 5 yards of each pass for that goal. From the word go, they started the move from the back. Each pass, I didn't see, there was no pressing at all. It's a great goal, don't get me wrong, it's a great finish, but the press was poor for their goal. And I thought we clocked off for half time around 5 minutes before that. I thought we got really complacent and cocky. The game was not won at 1-0. They're not a good team at all, by the way. I wasn't impressed with them. But we just made it so easy for them, didn't we? Too easy.
I think the main thing for that goal, I think the press was there, but it just wasn't the commit. It wasn't any commit.
There was no
commitment.
There's no one committing to a tackle there.
No,
but they were backing off left, front, centre. Well, and that's unfortunately what happens in those situations.
And if you don't commit to the press, then you get pulled apart, and that's what Target followed a player inside. Then there was a bit of position that came up in where he was there. So Ramsey was chasing back a shadow, and then the ball got played inside to the centre forward, who's Howells has actually seen it from a while off. You can see him go to him early, but he just wasn't committed, and he didn't go and didn't close him down or didn't try and put a foot in. And I think Konza as well, who's been the absolute saviour at the back for us all season alongside Tyrone. I think he could get a bit closer to it. And he usually throws himself at it. They used to call him Big Block Konza, didn't they? But he wasn't blocking anything there, which was a shame because he pretty much gave the player the angle that he needed to be able to bend it in. The only place that he could have put it, and good for us that he put it there. Yeah.
What it was for me, the Brentford game in general, and that last 5 minutes before half time, it was just a sobering reminder of where we are and where we have been for the last couple of years. And we've got a real ability to just go soft, to concede easy goals, to switch off. You know, it's absolute basics to be going in at half time with a 1-0 lead and just shut up shop and see it out. And somehow we find ourselves in a position where we've been torn apart and conceding a goal on the edge of our own box. And you look at the players and the personnel, and, you know, second half will come on to, you know, bringing on the substitutes and Traore and House, and you're bringing them in, and you know they're not at the level to take us forward. But what worries me, you know, because we're not in danger of going down, but we want to progress, we want to get better. You know, we brought in a new manager because we want to get in that top half. And I don't think we're going to do it for as long as we've got these players that are capable of making these mistakes, of dropping points and losing games that we should be drawing games that we should be winning. It's a problem that's going to keep happening because it's happened for the last 2 to 3 years. And I don't want to start pointing fingers at people because I love them all, but, you know, John McGinn, Douglas Luiz, Matt Target, Matt Cash, even Konza to an extent, they've all been part of a squad that have been soft for a couple of years now in terms of gifting goals away and gifting away leads and dropping points. And we should never have dropped any points at Brentford. So you worry what's going to have to change. And I don't know. I haven't got the answers.
I'd argue that I don't want to start making excuses for the players because it was a poor performance. I think if Mings plays, we don't lose that game. I think for their first goal, if you're placing him with Konza, you know his body's going to be outstretched. He's going to be right into the tackle. I think for the second goal, I think you need someone who could just do the basics and just lead from the back. I think we completely missed his leadership against Brentford. And look, I've been the first to criticise Mings when he's put in a poor performance, but when he doesn't play, we always seem to, other than a couple of periods, probably like last lockdown over December where House come in and did a job, and a couple of occasions, we always miss Mings when he doesn't play. Yeah. And it was clear as day for me against Brentford that Mings, we didn't just miss his leadership or his defending, but you know, like when he gets the ball and when he's not playing like he's at the circus and he starts, you know, chopping it up in the air, when he collects the ball, he, on the left foot, pushes it forward, tries to make something, even if it's a long ball, he has that positive attitude and influence on the game. And we were so sideways at the back against Brentford. There was no one really taking initiative, was there, really, from defence. It was going in the middle, sideways, lose it, repeat. That's all it was. There was no. It all kind of, for me, started from the back where we just didn't look like we had any ideas really all game.
But we shouldn't be in, and I completely agree with that, but we shouldn't be in a position now, I don't think, with the money that we spent and how many years we've been in this league, where we're going away to Brentford and we're missing one or two, and it makes us that much weaker, because they had a couple missing as well. And you're right, you know, it's a perfect observation. We missed Tyrone Mings, we missed Ollie Watkins, but we should be in a position now where we can adequately, you know, it doesn't affect us to the extent that it did.
We should have won that game. It's the first game we've lost in the Gerrard that we shouldn't have lost. The other 3 games I can accept it a little bit because he has a top 3 in the league. That's the first. It's the first game that he hasn't won where he's expected to. You know, Brighton, Palace, Norwich. he's done it. He's done it so far. It's the first game where I've left disappointed.
Oh, well, I was
Bruno.
just gutted. I wasn't annoyed. I don't want any. I love these group of players, compared to some of the absolute mercenaries that have been wearing the shirt in the last few years. I'm not calling for them to be replaced. I just think we need to be honest and have an honest look at us. The two fullbacks, Matt Cash and Matty Target, they come in for about 12 million quid each, so they're going to have a ceiling at some point. And it's easy to be critical of them after a couple of bad games, and they've been brilliant under Gerrard so far. But it's just games like the Brentford one that remind you of where we are and how far we've got to go.
That's the difference between the elite real players, and that's where we want to get to. So they're just, but the more times they put in performances like that, and that's not just those two, but it's everyone across the pitch. The more that they and just before the January transfer window as well, you don't really want to show yourself as being replaceable. I think there's a few people in there now that, everyone was talking about Matt Target at the start of the season, going, "Oh no." Then he was up there again, and now he's just showing what the Matt Target can do. I think losing Axel as well, so now we're definitely in the market for a centre half. We need to go in there, and like we've been saying previously, and sign a centre half that's going to genuinely push Konza and Mings, because Axel and Howells were just nowhere near him. We need to sign a big centre half. I liked Engels. I think obviously he started off really well, but then probably left because he was nowhere near it either. But I just want to see a bit of ambition now, because we've said it loads of times, and you've said it as well earlier, Brett. We can't be signing players that aren't going to be able to get us out of this mindset that we can just throw one in one week. I mean, look, football teams lose games. Man United lost to Wolves, and to name a few of the results that have happened recently. We're not saying that it can't happen, but that second half, we go in at 1-1. I'm thinking, at least the Steven Gerrard team usually comes out. Yeah, they come out in the second half. They play well. So I was like, okay, so let's not sweat too much. They've had one shot, and then we just kind of seemed to freeze a little bit, didn't we? And just then go back into the old style mentality that we had, that we suddenly can't play football. And it was really disappointing to see. And that goal as well is just avoidable. They went close before.
Statues, weren't they? For a second.
Because no one reacted quick enough. Howells didn't get out quick enough. He got the first block in, and he was just poor. When the keeper makes a save, Howells and Target.
You got the first ones there.
You got to beat the player there.
I think we're very easily read going forward as well. I've been praising the positions that the players have been picking up, as in, the left back getting so high and the centre. But I think it was so obvious every single time. As soon as we had the ball, Target literally pushed up to right wing, and Ramsey stood in left back. He stood there. There was no movement. There was none of this where, look for the pass, look for where can we play this ball. They stood in their positions. There was nothing. You're right. It was toothless.
I had a bloke behind me shouting where the 1-2s, and I thought it's a basic thing to say, but it's bang on. Gerrard, it's been quick. The minute you get it, it's been like a hot potato, but it was static. It was slow.
Stood where they needed to be.
They thought that was we really lacked that sharpness. It's frustrating because these players have you look at where we were a few years ago. Like you said, but we've had some absolute shit at the Villa. And these players aren't that. But look, at the end of the day, if these players are that good, they would have won league titles. It's all about making progress and buying players that are going to push us to that next level. We know Matt Target's not going to be a European player.
No.
It's all part of the building process. And if that's to kick up the arse we need before the window to actually spend the money we've made on Jack Grealish, because we've still not spent it. We've made a £10 million profit so far. If that's going to kick up the arse I need to actually, we probably need a bit of an input here, then so be it.
It just frustrates me though, because they do show the level. One week they can look like world beaters, some of these lads, and then the next they can go and drop absolute 4 out of 10s. But if you've got an 8 out of 10 one week and a 4 the next, you've got a mid-table footballer there.
Yeah,
they can't.
We're a mid-table team, aren't we?
We are.
And that is where we are as a club. And to be fair, 3 seasons into the Premier League,
there's nothing to
you can't
about,
begrudge it, really, can you? We were terrible for years, so I can't. It's not panic stations for me just yet. And for me, I think we've appointed a manager. I think it's going to be very good for this football club as well. I think he'll get a tune out of these players.
And he hasn't had a transfer market yet.
No, not at all.
And he's only going to have a January one now.
It's no real criticism of anyone, really. It's obviously it's not panic stations. It's nowhere near it, is it? It's like we're just having a bit of a moan because of what we've seen on the weekend. But if there was any criticism of Gerrard, it would have been, his substitutions throughout his time here have been pretty much spot on. Every single one, you've seen it. And then I think, look, okay, he had 5 academy players on the bench or something, but still, I'd like to see Philogene Benes rather than Trezeguet because Trezeguet's nowhere near it for me. When he came on, I was like, well, he's not going to change the game.
And then he did the obvious.
That's an absolute disgrace.
That dive.
I hope that's the last thing he does in a Villa shirt. I don't want to see him again. He's average. He's bang average, and that's it. Thank you very much. Let's stop trying to glamorise these average players. I mean, he's beyond average.
In fairness, I'll always have a place in my heart for him for what he did keeping us up.
Yeah,
that's it now.
Yeah, Alan Hutton.
Yeah,
I love him, but he's below average. These players, so let's stop glamorising Trezeguet. He's always going to come back and be, Cristiano Ronaldo. He's average.
Yeah. I wish. I mean, look, you know what? Okay, Gerard's probably giving him his chance. He hasn't seen him, but we can all tell you that Trezeguet isn't where. If we want to, talking about the mentality of the players that we want to sign, or the overall quality at least, Trezeguet he's not of that. He's not of that. What the kind of player that we're looking for. I mean, I can tell you that. You bring on Philogene before him.
I would agree, but can we go and get some money for some of these lads? I'm fed up of seeing players going out on loan, running the contracts down, paying them off a year early. Trezeguet, all right, he's not at our level, but we could go and get a few. Surely there's somebody that'll be
Turkish club.
That'll have to pay a few million quid for. Yeah. Wesley, another one, he's off on loan again for a year. Then he'll be out of contract. Losing 20 million quid investment. Yeah. I'm no expert on how to run a football club, but it does frustrate me because there's financial fair play to think about, and there's just dead assets there, isn't there? That we just don't seem to be getting any money for.
Well, hopefully Trezeguet can have an half decent African Cup of Nations with Egypt, and
that might have been a reason why they played him in Traoré. But just on the topic of that position, that area of the pitch, I think, and he's not been talked about, we've really missed Ashley Young. And I would have thought I'd say that in a while, but just his game management. If you put Youngs and Mings into that team at the week, I think we win that 1 or 2-0.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
The game would have been slowed right down.
Yeah.
And if there would have been a lot more control in the last 5-10 minutes of the first half.
It wouldn't have been Young setting them up or scoring them, but he would have influenced that game and would have influenced the outcome of it as well.
Just frustrating. I mean, positive I'll take from real. I'm clutching at straws here. Martinez has made a couple of big saves.
Yeah,
he's against Chelsea. Did it against Brentford? I'm starting to see the big Martinez of last season.
Yeah, he was just a bit quiet, wasn't he? We hadn't seen him make a massive, really important save. And
really. But
no, you don't. But it's nice to see him step up. He did let a few sloppy ones in. I think this season where the previous Emmy would have stopped him, but that was big save, wasn't it?
Big saves.
Sanson just couldn't quite get there with the challenge, and then he tipped it onto the post. Good to see.
He's got 19 games now, and I fully expect him, and I know he will go and win us some points now.
Yeah, he'll win.
He's got a bit of making up to do. He's getting back to his best. It's good to see.
Well, you'll be happy that Trezeguet is going to AFCON. Yeah, along with Traoré.
Gutted, absolutely devastated.
I mean, Traoré, he looked quite decent. He looked like he'd never really been away when he came on against.
He's not had a run back. That was his first actual game back, really. But,
but I mean, if
fair, but Trezeguet
either gives you a Ballon d'Or performance or
League 2. That first half against Burnley.
I like him. I do like him.
I don't mind that. Although I come on moaning about players not being consistent enough. I don't mind Traoré in and around the squad because he can win you a game.
Yeah.
As long as his place is on the bench long term, I don't see us building a team around him because he's too inconsistent. But
I think that's the story. That's the tale of your classic winger, really, isn't it? They're very hot and cold, and he does blow hot and cold. But he's got a wand of a magical left foot when he's
cold. It was cold against Brentford though. So the way we passed. I think to find the game, it was just extremely sloppy and lethargic on it. I'm seeing balls bounce off people's shins. I'm just like, for fuck's sake, it was just.
It's a really great performance.
He was, but it
just a day later.
It was classic Villa at Brentford for some reason. I don't know why we can't cope with playing at that place.
It's a dreadful ground as well.
Took 4 points off us this season, and I'm not being funny. They're one of the worst teams we played. I'm not being disrespectful to them.
Absolutely.
Because they're doing well with the budget and all the rest of it. But I don't know how we've come away with a point against them.
Good, is it?
They're terrible.
Yeah. They took 4 points off us this season, haven't
they? Yeah. And an 89th minute yellow card means that McGinn's out for United.
Head last week.
Just what you need, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's another thing as well.
That's the cup game, just to clarify all the league game.
No, it's the league game.
See, I didn't know that. And if he hadn't got booked, then it would have been.
That was the last game.
Right, that's shocking. I didn't know that. I thought it was the FA. That's absolutely shocking. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So
if you'd known that,
it's an experience, and as a captain as well on the day. I just think you
He's a
don't.
Scottish international. You shouldn't be doing that. That's
I mean, fair play to Brentford. Knew exactly what they were doing there, and I saw it happen. I thought, here we go. He's been rattled.
He's been on that 4th yellow for 4 weeks, and he's not, he's not looked like getting booked.
No.
And then he goes and gets booked for doing that.
He's always done that. I remember in the Championship. I mean, you've got to get a lot of bookings to have a 2-game suspension. Do you remember when he had that? He had 2-game suspension for yellow cards. It's like just stop picking up these silly yellows.
Yeah.
It's like even then, like Konza the other week when he just got yellow for holding on to the ball for too long.
He bounced someone up. He bounced someone up. He did it again. He ran off. We had a corner. And he ran off. Did he like? Someone found the floor and he just stepped over it. He's always on the wind up, that bloke.
He's a shit house.
So still come to terms with McGinn being out.
I'm pretty sure it's the.
I think it is
the league game, which is not great, but it just means that he'll be playing the cup. And I think as we discussed, I think we'll go pretty strong because we don't have a game in the midweek, do we?
We've got to go full strength. Look, Steven Gerrard, I'm pretty certain, has not been to Old Trafford since he's played for Liverpool. So you're telling me he's not going to put in a serious, rigorous session in this week. So I reckon some of the sessions this week are going to be killers. Yeah. They're going to go there wanting it massive. We're not going to go there playing kids. It's going to be our first 11. Steven Gerrard's return to OT, and he's going to want blood.
You've got weeks in between games, and then you've got a week between now and when we play them, then a week between we play them again. We've had 2 games postponed. We start seeing like players rested because of player welfare and all the rest of it. You might as well just pack it all.
But he's come out and said now we want more games.
Yeah,
so you know what, fantastic. Yeah. I don't want to see I don't want to see one Davidson against United in the cup. I want to see a team of players who've got numerous appearances between them. I want to have a go because I watched them against Wolves yesterday. They were crap.
Yeah. We can get at them. We really can. And I think that you don't really expect to see some of their big names. I think they'll probably rest a few. They've got other competitions as well, so it's an opportunity. And then the week after again, we've beaten once this season. Let's try and do it again. I mean, look, that game against that cup game is a real big chance to go there.
We'll win one of them, won't we? I think we'll win one of those next.
We had this against the Albion, though.
Which one do you want?
No,
come on, we'll come on to that.
Picky. We'll do both. I remember against the Albion. Which one would you rather? Oh man, we'd be the boot. Both. Yeah. Straight face. I mean, too right. I'm not saying we're going to win both games, but you don't pick and choose. You go into both games.
Win the first one though, then got them back at Old Trafford to do the hat-trick over them. Sorry, Villa Park.
Yeah.
The chaos.
I can't wait.
It's going to happen, isn't it?
I just think it's all set up for if we do turn up. There's no way Gerrard's going there and letting us put in a performance against Brentford. I reckon it won't really kick up the arse we need to put in a performance. And look, let's be honest about it, boys. The magic of football is the FA Cup.
You say no debutants. Do you not reckon we could sneak one in before?
Left back, maybe.
Yeah, a new purchase at the back end of this week.
Digne is going to come in at left back.
They won't become title of this FA Cup. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Yeah.
No,
that's a good shout if you think about that. Actually,
yeah.
It's got to be. I mean, we're starting to get linked with a couple, aren't we?
There's a few big.
The classic Calvin Phillips has just come back up.
That's the thing. I hate going onto Twitter and the internet and looking at the rumours. I hate rumours. I just want John Percy to tweet it. And just go, okay, something's happening here.
Are you not interested in Roberto Firmino?
Did you see that Tony Cascarino?
We've all got a chance on TalkSport. Get on there with that.
I've just got a sneaky feeling that Villa might sign Firmino. I've just got a feeling.
Where's that come from?
What are you feeling? What have you took before you went on?
That is a real weird link. Do you not think?
I think he said not Firmino, but someone like him.
It's not even clickbait, is it? It's just it's strange.
Danny Murphy's been on Mon today, and he's sitting moaning about the lads going the darts. And just get it.
Danny Murphy.
He's the podcast. I'll have a chat with him. Yeah.
I mean, we know far too much about talking out of our arse, and we do it every week.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Danny Murphy.
But I mean, Danny Murphy, and add Cascarino to the book as well, because that was it's a shocking. I mean, Gary's on it as well, so he's just there for the wand.
Yeah. But we have that Fabrizio Romano has been tweeting at us, didn't he, about these links. So
so
we'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know. I'm not really analytics or anything like that, but.
I think you quite like seeing the Swiss third division. They're doing any hidden
prospects. Some good players playing that division. Some great players playing the Alps nowadays. Proper good footballers.
Got any names?
Not at the moment. No, back pocketing them ones. I'm on a consultancy. But I just think it's good to see we're looking for fullbacks. You say fullbacks, not going to be fullbacks, so they're going to be pushing forward. I think the way he wants to play, Gerrard, he did it at Rangers. You had Tavernier bombing up. You had Barisic doing the same. I know it's Scottish football, but the way he wants to play football, it's on the offensive, and that does in this modern game. It comes from your fullbacks, doesn't it? And it's good to see that he wants to address it quickly as well.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we've got the Kankes, we've got that, and he's killing it. I mean,
he's playing on Friday.
He's doing it for Swindon. He's playing on Friday.
Playing Friday against Man City. Yeah.
Okay. He looks really, really, really good. I think for the future, a couple of years down the line, maybe even next season, he could come in and start pushing.
I can see him next year.
I don't think the right back is too much of a priority to sign any reinforcements anyway. But I think we're probably going to sign a left back, aren't we?
I think so.
We definitely need to sign a centre half, but we need to show real ambition in the signings that we make. Probably need a holding midfielder as well because we don't have a natural apart from the Camber.
I agree. We could quite easily, because to get players in that are going to improve on what's in there, you're looking at 30 million plus, and there's 3 positions that you've just identified: left back, centre back, holding midfield. Could easily go and spend it. I mean, we won't spend close to 100 million this January. I think it's what's needed in the long term if we want to kick on.
No, absolutely.
Sounds ridiculous. We need another 100 million chicken addicts. It's what everyone else is doing.
Not spend money this season.
On 3 players as well.
Yeah.
We thought that we were going to buy a centre half, a centre mid, and a left back in the summer, but we didn't.
Yeah.
We've made a £10 million profit still.
Yeah.
It's still a horrible market to work in
great,
January. It's all inflated, so they wouldn't want to do too much business there. But I mean, we said the name before that, the Everton left back, didn't you? He was at Barca. He looks he's a player, isn't he? So I mean, he'd be something that would come in and improve us anyway.
I just see assists and fantasy football constantly. So if that's what he's going to offer, then I can't really say no, really.
All right, lads. What are the worst January transfer signings?
Just spoke about a few, man.
Well, Reece mentioned Kiyotaka before because we basically signed him, didn't we? About 14 times. One
Under transfer rumours, yeah.
He was one, and then I think Simon Dawkins will never go unrivaled.
Nah, it's pretty bad, wasn't it?
Bar Michael Bradley.
Michael Bradley weren't great.
Did he make it? He made one appearance, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah, he was
Michael Bradley was about.
Borja Baston.
Yeah,
Borja Baston.
Tom Carroll.
Tom
Carroll, yeah, big player.
Oh, yeah, there. Alex
Samatta was there. Obviously, Samatta, big goal in the final. Yeah.
At least he played a bit, like Samatta, didn't he?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Played himself out of the 11. That's all he ever did.
Yeah.
God, we've had some bad ones, haven't we?
Come on.
No choice. It's like a bad month for us, isn't it? January.
Yeah.
You know, the list could go on. Did we get Kalinic, the goalkeeper, in January as well?
First game he dropped a ball.
Yeah. Against Swansea in the FA Cup, was it?
Made some good ones though.
Ashley Young, John Carew.
Ashley Young, was he?
Yes, he was. Yes, they were signed at the same time.
Yeah. Darren Bent was a good one as well.
Conor O'Raham.
Nobby Solano.
Yeah, I'd say Bent was probably our best. Was he definitely our best ever January
record
signing?
I mean, he kept us up that season.
Robbie Keane was a very
he was a big one, wasn't he?
That was a great one.
Tyrone Mings, if you class him in January.
Yeah, big one.
Someone else on the spot now. Anyone else?
I know, yeah.
Crackers.
I think, to be fair, pound for pound and value, Courtney House wasn't a bad January signing.
I was just thinking.
What he's done at the club, so I'd argue, decent.
Decent business overall, better than all the other shit that we've got just mentioned.
Still a good fourth choice, but you want someone to really push them, and he's not one, is he? But we've talked about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Predictions, or did you have one more?
No.
There's
someone with memory books, but
predictions. Man United away, cup Monday night.
Well, what I will say is if we win on Monday, and I'm going to back us to, we'll also win on the Saturday as well.
All
right. So I'll save my prediction for the Saturday, but Monday night at Old Trafford, I'll go to penalties. I'll go 1-1. We'll go to penalties.
I think 1-1, but I'm not going to be winning some pens. Just 1-1. That's it.
2-0 Villa.
I was 1-0. 1-0.
1-0.
1-0 Villa.
Big.
Does it go to extra time?
I think it does go to extra time.
I can't keep track anymore.
I can't keep track of the rules.
Yours just predicted a 1-1.
Hang on, is it? There's no replays.
No
replay.
replays.
I don't know if it's like the Carabao and just go straight to.
But that's now got 2 semis now. I thought it was just one. They've got 2-legged semis back now, haven't they?
Yeah.
That was last year, was it? Where that the one?
Is Ashley Young back?
I don't know.
Oh, it's due a goal.
Ashley Young free kick. 90th minute.
Oh, God.
He'd celebrate as well, wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He would.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, come on. Got a knee slide right for them.
Give his little.
We got the-
Don't know how
I
to
don't know what you
describe
call it.
that.
Yeah,
The fingers, but
the outstretched thumb and little
Yeah,
finger.
yeah.
Not the V's.
Yeah.
The outstretched little finger and
Pinky
thumb.
slash thumb combo.
Both of them.
Twist them.
I mean, that's a whole different technique you're talking about.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But yeah, all right, I reckon. Yeah. So we all fancy Aston. Well, I mean,
Solid.
a couple draws in there, but
But Pens is a last year. Well, we've already lost one penny this year, obviously. Then would you want him?
yeah. Hopefully, I would like to see Philogene Badace get some minutes because there was a lot of talk about him before he signed a new contract. He had clubs from like Leipzig were definitely really big interested in him, and I think he looks really exciting every time he's played. He had a good game against Barrow as well.
Played during pre-season, I thought.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He had a really good
And
pre-season.
Seems to have had a look.
He's a constant threat. I was screaming for him to come on against Brentford instead of Trezeguet because you know what you're getting with Trezeguet. But yeah, hopefully, I'd like to see a bit of. I know we don't want too many changes, but if we can see Philogene Badace, maybe give him a cheeky start in place of Bertie, who's off to the African Cup of Nations, then. Yeah, let's hopefully he can get on, impress, and he'll be the next, the latest star on the team sheet at the moment.
See you in the 4th round.
Yeah,
All right.
UTV.
In the hat.